Good afternoon, ladies. Good afternoon, ladies. What a good day to celebrate the International Women's Day. May 8th, 2023. Happy International Women's Day to every woman out there who is defying stereotypes and overcoming discriminations and obstacles to pave a way for women's voice to be heard, especially the voices of women and girls with disabilities. And we want their voices to be heard in a world where they are invisible. Today, as we celebrate the International Women's Day with the theme Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality and also embracing equity, it is a joy for me to come here and share a little bit on how we can use technology to address the discriminations facing women with disability, women and girls with disabilities in our society. First, let me ask you this question. Did you know that an estimated 1 in 5 women have one form of disability or the other? Indeed, the disability comes in various ways. It is not only when we have an obvious disability, as you see for women with missing limbs. Disability includes physical disabilities, psychosocial, intellectual, and sensory conditions. The blind, the deaf, the lame, everyone with one form of disability or the other. And studies have also shown that women in general have a higher prevalence of disability compared to men. Now, what does this mean for us as we address or seek to address discriminations against women and girls with disability, especially on a day like this? We've seen the statistics. We know that there is a higher prevalence of disabilities among women and girls. And we also know that women and girls with disability continue to face extraneous barriers when it comes to the labor market. When it comes to access to education, women and girls with disability face huge barriers and obstacles. I know several young ladies that we have mentored in our group, the amputee support group. What extra support is needed for them to be able to access educational facilities? Already, we know that there is disparity in access to education, although in recent times it is narrowing for both male and female. However, the women with disabilities and girls with disabilities are falling way behind because our facilities, our educational facilities, are not disability friendly. How would a double amputee young girl go to school when they don't have handicap friendly toilets to use? Imagine for a moment that young girl is a 14-year-old girl who is in her period and she is a bilateral amputee. And that means that she needs to be able to sit down when she goes to the toilet. And there are nowhere to sit in those bathrooms in the schools where she can sit comfortably and take care of herself. Imagine a bilateral amputee in the university who has to climb several floors to be able to get to the classroom where a lecture is taking place. Imagine that she takes one lecture in one building and she has to climb down and climb up again to take another lecture in another building. It takes a lot of motivation. It takes extra support for such ladies to stay in school. And so I'm going to pause for this moment and celebrate every single girl with disability who is forging against these challenges to stay in school. Today is all about you. I celebrate your tenacity. I celebrate your resilience. I celebrate that conviction and a refusal to be left behind. Because the truth of the matter is, we're not going to wait until a room is made for us, created for us, but we're going to keep pushing against all odds to get there. Because right to education is everybody's right, irrespective of their gender and irrespective of their disability. Every girl has a right to adequate education. And that includes girls with disabilities. And I'm very passionate about those with missing limbs because I can relate with them. And I know the challenges that they face being able to access facilities that should make education available to them. And so in a society where we are talking about equal right to education, we must ensure that our structures, our schools, whether primary, secondary, university, tertiary institutions, are supportive of ensuring that inclusive education is provided. They provide the necessary support that makes it less tedious for girls with missing limbs to be in school. Let me celebrate you a little bit further. You finished school and now you're looking for jobs. Statistics shows that women with disability are lagging far behind in access to labor market. Yes, there are some institutions, some organizations that have become aware of the need to ensure that we do not discriminate on the basis of disability. However, how many are they in the scheme of things? There are young ladies with missing limbs that are going from office to office trying to get employment. But as soon as they know that they are people with disability, they never get a feedback. It's happening, and we've had stories of young ladies who actually got into the labor market, but because their co-workers feel uncomfortable with their disability, feel uncomfortable seeing their artificial legs, such young ladies have had to leave that space. And so at the Feet of Grace Foundation, this year our theme is towards a society that is more comfortable with women and girls with disability, especially women and girls with missing limbs. We need to be inclusive of women and girls with missing limbs. We need a society that is comfortable with us being in classes. We need a society that is comfortable with women with missing limbs being in the institutions, being in the industries, whether it is financial industries, institutions, whether it's whatever sphere of the society, because women with missing limbs do not have anything wrong with their brain. They bring so much to the table, and the society is deficient for their absence in the spaces where they can contribute. And so today we want to use this opportunity of the celebration of the International Women's Day to call attention not just to the exclusion of women in some spaces, but also the double exclusion, the double discrimination that women and girls with missing limb face. I'm intrigued with the theme for this year, especially on the one on innovation and technology for gender equality. Technology is opening a door for women and girls with disability to be able to participate. COVID showed us that it is possible for us to be online and be able to reach many more people than our immediate sphere of influence. COVID proved to us that we can work effectively from home. And COVID proved to us that we can contribute even from the space where we are with the use of technology. I am in Geneva, Switzerland at this moment, and I'm reaching out to you where you are, in different countries where you are. You're hearing me. That is the power of technology. And this is what we need to improve to ensure that even in the use of technology, we do not exclude women and girls with disabilities. And that immediately takes me to a point which I want to raise as I go on today. And that is the danger that we also face with the use of technology. Already we know that technology-focused gender violence is already prevailing. Women are being harassed, abused based on their image on social media. Social media can be a great place to pass our messages along to the whole world. We can use technology for good purposes. There is also the dark side of technology that women with disability actually suffer the most from. They are more exposed to the intimidation, to the harassment, to the stalking that takes place on social media. I myself have been exposed to that. People who come behind the door to stalk you on the social media. And it means that we need to ensure that our girls with disability are safe when they are using technology. They are safe from predators. They are safe from those who want to use their disability to their own advantage. Yes, I'm a woman with disability, but that doesn't mean that I am desperate for anybody's attention. And for young ladies who are already struggling with the change in their body image, who are already struggling with all that it comes with missing limbs or with whatever form of disability that they are relating to, they certainly don't need that kind of pressure. So we must indeed, as we talk about discrimination against women and girls with disability and the opportunities that technology opens to us to limit this gap, we must also pay attention to ensure that gender-based discrimination does not limit the opportunities available to women to use technology for their businesses, for their education, and that the violence that is being propagated against women with disability can be mitigated and limited even as they take hold of technology to expand their horizon and to be the best version that they can be. What are the other opportunities? I'll come back to this as we go on. What are the other opportunities that have opened to us with the use of technology. I celebrate today women with disability and young girls with disability, young ladies who are using technology to promote their businesses. I celebrate every single one of you who have not allowed your missing limbs or whatever form of disability you are facing to stop you from seeking to be economically empowered. If no one is going to open the door for you, if no one is going to give you a seat at the table, then we're going to create a table for ourselves. You refuse to let the limitation of the regular marketing, regular trading to keep you from advancing. And you're using technology to market your products and to put it out there so that you can become economically empowered. I celebrate you. Today is all about you. It's all about how you are overcoming the obstacles to become the best, to pursue your dreams and to live the dream of life that you envisaged for yourself. My dear friends, when I consider what it means to be a woman living with disability, one of the questions that I ask myself is, how well informed are the people who are making decisions about me and other women like me? How well informed are they about my needs? How well informed are they about the challenges that I face on a day-to-day basis? If you have not walked in my shoes, it's unlikely that you know where it pinches. And that's why it is important that women and girls with disability are in the room where decisions are being made, where policies are being made about our lives. Policies that affect our health, policies that affect our financial status, policies that affect our access to education. We need women in this space. We need women with disability in that room where decisions are being made about us. And I hope that today, as we celebrate the International Women's Day, it would be an opportunity for us to raise our voices and shout louder and pull all our voices together in the different spaces that God has located us to say that women with disability needs to be in the room where decisions are being made about us. And so when I look at our National Assembly, when I look at the Senate, the Constitution of our Senate and National Assembly, and look at the state and look at the local government, I am looking for women with disability in the places where decisions are being made. And I want to challenge every one of us today that we should also be on the lookout for this. Yes, in Nigeria, we are going through transition. And as we go through this transition, we must not be silent. We must speak out loud and begin to say that women need to be where decisions are being made. And not only women need to be there, women with disabilities also need to be there. Because it seems as if the higher we go in the level of authority in organizations, the thinner the air becomes for women, and especially for women with disability. My dear friends, Today, I acknowledge all the women with disability who have refused to be silent. I acknowledge all the women with disability who are speaking out there. And I know that the more of us that come together, the more we are able to amplify our voices so that we can address the discriminations against women and girls with disability, so that we can pay attention to their vulnerabilities in different sectors, in different spheres of their lives. The physical and architectural structures of our buildings need to take into consideration the needs of the people with disability, especially women and girls. We need to ensure that our buildings are accessible, and we need to ensure that the laws that have been promulgated about disability-friendly institutions and buildings are, as being observed and being adhered to at different levels of governance. We need to ensure unlimited access to health care for women and girls with disability. We know that the healthcare structure itself can become a barrier for access. And it can also create a discrimination among the healthcare providers. And therefore, access to health, opportunities to get good health care when it is needed, becomes delayed. And of course, that means poorer health outcomes. How do you enter a facility as a person with disability and not be able to walk in? Do we have grab bars? Do we have railings? And if you have to stay in the hospital, are the bathrooms disability friendly, especially for women who must sit down in the bathroom? They also face stigma. Women with disability face stigma and discrimination, and we must ensure that this stigma is removed. I am a woman with disability. I am unhindered, and missing limbs cannot be a limitation for me to live a purposeful life. Disability is not a limitation for me to contribute to the well-being of my society. And therefore, all of us need to speak out and remove the stigma. Disability can happen to anyone in a splitting of an eye, in a twinkling of an eye. We didn't ask for it. It's what life has served us, but we refuse to be diminished by it. And amputees, I always say, do not need pity. People with disabilities do not need pity. Women and girls with disability do not need pity or tokenism. We need affirmative action that recognizes what women and girls bring to the table, the contributions they can make in science, technology, and engineering. And the joy that we have is that technology makes it easy for us to be able to work from wherever we are and contribute to science, contribute to technology, contribute to engineering where you are. And so my greatest dream and desire is to see more girls with disability receiving STEM education. Because yes, we can. We can contribute in that area. My desire is to see more women and girls with disability in the tech space, in computer technology. Because yes, we can. Missing limbs is not a limitation to the use of our brain cells. Disability is a mind thing. And believe me or not, every one of us have one form of disability or the other. It's just that some are more obvious than the others. So today, let's raise the clarion call as we celebrate the mileage that we have made so far in creating awareness and the areas where we need to remove the obstacles, where we need to remove the barrier. We celebrate how far we have come. And I celebrate every single one who has been speaking on behalf of the voiceless. I celebrate every single person, men and women, who have been speaking on behalf of those marginalized in the society, especially women and girls with disability. And to you, my dear friends, who are living with disability, the woman with disability, the girl with disability, let me say this to you. You can live above the barrier. I desire for a spark to rise up within you, that you will go out there and say, no matter how hard it is, I'm going to get educated. I'm going to get my business out there. No matter how hard it is, I'm going to participate in the spaces where decisions have been made. I refuse to be hindered. I refuse to be limited by my disability. I need you to understand that you have so much to contribute. And while we're waiting for the society to catch up with that understanding of what you bring to the table, what you can contribute to the society, don't stop fighting. Don't give up on hope. Go the extra mile. Yes, I understand. It can be discouraging. You have made applications, you've put applications there. Nobody seems to be listening to you. Nobody wants you because of your disability in the public space. But square up your shoulder, dear girl. Square up your shoulder. Suck it in and keep going. And if they don't create room for you, make a room for yourself. And that is the joy of technology. Make a room for yourself. Your disability does not define you. It is a stepping stone to better, newer opportunities. Enter into those new opportunities. So I challenge you, my fellow woman with disability. Refuse to take no for an answer if you want to get into the bank and you are not able to bring your wheelchair in. Ask to see the manager of that bank. If your money is in that bank, you should be able to get into that bank. And if you have to go to any government facility and you cannot access it because the access is a barrier, make noise, don't keep quiet. If you want to transact business with an organization and you know what you bring to the table and they do not make the building accessible to you, please use technology to make noise. Make some noise. Let's put our voices together and amplify the voices of women and girls with disability and get for them the support that they need in this season. So friends, one thing that we must pay attention to, as I mentioned earlier, is the increasing harassment and violence against women and girls with disability in the technological space, in the social media space. Let's call it out. Wherever we see it, refuse to be intimidated. If somebody is stalking you, block them and report them. You are made for more. You are made to be cherished. You are made to be loved as a whole human being, not just for your missing part. Don't be desperate to let anyone take advantage of your disability. Call them out. Call out everyone who harasses you. Report them where you can. We don't want to shame people, but we refused to be pushed out of a space where we can contribute. All forms of violence against women with disability is a no-no, whether offline or online, and we say no to it today. So as we celebrate this year's International Women's Day, and we embrace equity, we're saying let's have a level playing ground so that women with disability can play in that ground without tripping over so many obstacles. Let's take out of the playing ground as many of the barriers, as many of the obstacles that would trip them, that would trip us. We can use the media, we can use the social media, we can use technology to our advantage, to advance our agenda, to be recognized as people who can contribute to our societies. We can contribute to our home. We can contribute to our families. We can contribute to our society, every level of it. We can contribute in governance of our communities. Refuse to be pushed out of the space where you can contribute effectively and efficiently. Refuse to be limited by your disability. Surmount it. You've stayed alive so far. You can surmount this one as well. Lastly, to all those who are in position of decision making, we need to pay attention to ensure the girls with disability have equal access to education at all levels. Let me say that again. Everything that it takes to ensure that girls with disability have equal access to education at all levels, that is what we must do. For all the institutions of learning that are creating access, I celebrate you today and I say thank you. But let's do some more. Let it be the majority of our schools that are opening their doors and welcoming women with disabilities, girls with disabilities. And to parents of non-disabled children, may I request that you teach your children to respect diversity, to respect those who are different from them. May I please appeal to you on the day that we celebrate the achievements of women globally, that we begin to pass the message on to the children, to the next generation, that we must learn to respect those who are different from us, so that we don't point fingers at them when they are in our classroom, so that our children can be better and faster than our generation had been in accommodating people with disability in schools. I hope each one of you who have taken time to join me this afternoon has something useful to take away. And now I open it up for questions or contributions if there are any. And let me wish you all a happy International Women's Day. Congratulations on the difference you're making. Congratulations on the achievements that you're making against all odds. And just keep forging ahead and pull the generation coming behind along with you so that they can walk an easier path than you have worked. My name is Irene Titilola Olumese. I'm a bilateral amputee. Both legs were amputated below the knees almost 10 years ago. And following that, I set up the Feet of Grace Foundation to provide support for all the women and girls who have lost their limbs. Today, over 160 amputees have received one form of support or the other: prosthetic limbs, school scholarship, seed fund to set up new businesses so that they can be economically empowered and contribute to household food security. That's what the Feet of Grace Foundation is doing. And this year, our theme is towards a society that is more comfortable with women and girls with disability. And I hope that you have heard enough today to know that you can join hands with us to make our societies a better place for people with disability. The charity work begins from the 15th of April in Switzerland and in different countries around the world. Please join hands with us. Let's work together and amplify the voices of the silent and invisible women and girls with disabilities who cannot speak out or don't have voices in their own. Walk with us so that amputees can walk again. So I'm inviting you, join us in your cities. This year is especially an important and significant year for me because it's going to be 10 years of Feet of Grace in 2023. 10 years since I lost my legs, and 10 years since the idea to conceive the Feet of Grace Foundation was conceived. So let's celebrate 10 years of making a difference in our communities. 10 years beyond lung transplant. 10 years beyond amputation. And 10 years of using my story and my pain to make a difference for others. The Feet of Grace Foundation supports children, boys and girls below the ages of 18, young ladies and women with disabilities, with missing limbs, amputees. Many people have asked me, why women and girls? Why the emphasis with women and on women and girls? I hope that hearing me today has given you the answer to your question, why we are emphasizing women and girls. Of course, if we get to that point where we have a lot of resources, we will be able to spread further. But for now, with the resources that we have, we focus our attention on children, young ladies, and women. Together, you and I can make a difference in our world today. Together, we can make a difference for amputees. Together, we can create a society that is comfortable for women and children. And together, we can ensure that missing limbs is not a limitation to live a fulfilling life and to achieve our innate potentials. Thank you, friends, for joining me this afternoon. It's been an honor to come here and celebrate this day with you. I don't see any question. I'm checking. I cannot see any questions, so I think that it is a good time to say thank you. Thank you for your support for women with disabilities. Thank you for your support to women and girls with missing limbs. Thank you for joining us to create an inclusive society. And thank you for removing the obstacles that trip all of us in the playing field. And thank you for recognizing that we bring much to the table and have much we can contribute if you will give us a seat at the table. God bless you, and looking forward to another opportunity to share with you. Have a wonderful International Women's Day. Goodbye.